Wall Street robots. Wall Street robots. Can you believe that's a headline now? It's like something out of a movie, right?
Yeah.
My retirement fund better not develop a taste for Lamborghinis all of a sudden.
Right. It's definitely an attention-grabbing headline.
Yeah.
And you're right. It does feel very sci-fi movie. But it speaks to this sort of underlying anxiety I think people have about AI, right? Like, are robots coming for our jobs? That's kind of
exactly, and that's what we're diving into today. No pun intended. We're gonna take a look at a recent episode of Trending Now, and they really break down AI and the future of work. They even had Dr. Sarah Matthews on as a guest. She's a leading researcher in the field, not just some tech bro with an app idea.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, their choice of guest definitely lends credibility to the discussion. So what were some of the key takeaways for you?
Well, Dr. Matthews made it clear right away. AI is a powerful tool. It's not about to replace everyone. Think of it like a really advanced calculator.
Yeah.
It can analyze mountains of data in seconds.
Right.
Something no human could ever do.
Yeah, and that's a really important point to emphasize, I think, and it addresses a fear a lot of people have. AI can process information, it can automate tasks, and in doing so, that can free us up to focus on the things that really require human judgment, creativity, empathy, things like that.
And Dr. Matthews had a great example about healthcare. Imagine AI helping doctors spot early signs of diseases in medical images, things human eyes might miss. It's incredible technology.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's still the doctor making the diagnosis and deciding on the best course of treatment.
Right. It highlights how AI can augment and enhance human capabilities rather than replacing us entirely.
Right. Working together. But she did say that some jobs are definitely more vulnerable than others.
Yeah.
Specifically, jobs that involve a lot of repetitive tasks. Things like data entry, or certain types of manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, that makes sense. If a task can be broken down into a series of predictable steps, it's more likely to be automated.
But here's the thing. Dr. Matthews also talked about how even in those fields, new jobs will emerge.
Okay.
Jobs where people are needed to manage AI systems to train them.
Interesting.
And basically make sure they're working as intended.
So it's like the saying goes, technology might change what we do, but it doesn't change why we do it.
I like that. Okay. So we've established that AI is here to stay, and it's going to change the way we work. So what does that mean for us? What skills do we need to develop to thrive in this new world?
Yeah, and that's where Dr. Matthews' insights get really interesting because she talks about the increasing importance of what are often called soft skills. Things like communication, critical thinking, problem solving, adaptability.
So it's not just about being a tech whiz.
Not at all. While technical skills are important, especially in certain fields, these more human-centric skills are really what's going to set people apart. Think about it. AI might be able to analyze data, generate reports, but it can't lead a team, it can't inspire creativity, it can't build relationships.
That's a good point. So it sounds like we need to brush up on our people skills, huh?
Right.
But how do we actually prepare for this AI-powered future? Like, it all feels a bit overwhelming, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's understandable to feel that way. But Dr. Matthews, she offers some really practical advice. She emphasizes the importance of what she calls digital literacy.
Okay, digital literacy. What does that even mean in this context? Like, it makes me think of, coding boot camps and algorithms.
Yeah, it's not about becoming a programmer overnight. It's more about understanding the basics of how data works, how it's collected, how it's used to make decisions, even how it can be manipulated. Think of it like knowing the rules of the road before you get behind the wheel of a car.
Okay.
You might not need to know how to rebuild the engine, but you need to understand the basic mechanics to navigate effectively.
That's a really good analogy. So digital literacy is about being informed citizens of the digital age.
Exactly. And that ties into another key piece of advice she gives, which is continuous learning. The AI landscape is evolving so quickly, so being open to new information and constantly kind of updating your skills is crucial.
Yeah, it's like that feeling when your phone gets a software update and suddenly there's all these new features.
Right.
You either figure them out or you get left behind, right?
Precisely. And this doesn't necessarily mean, formal education or expensive courses. It could be as simple as reading articles, listening to podcasts like this one,
Right.
Or even just following thought leaders on social media. It's about staying curious, staying engaged with the world around you.
So we've got our soft skills, we're working on our digital literacy, and we're embracing lifelong learning. What else did this Trending Now episode highlight?
Well, they touched upon the potential impact of AI on decision making,
Okay.
particularly in fields like finance.
So those Wall Street robots I mentioned earlier might not be so far-fetched after all.
Perhaps not. But it's important to remember that AI, even in those really complex scenarios, is still a tool. It can analyze market trends. It can make predictions based on historical data, which can be incredibly valuable for investors, for financial institutions.
But it's still humans making the final calls, right?
Exactly. And that brings us to a really, really crucial point that Dr. Matthews emphasized throughout the talk show, which is the importance of human oversight.
Okay, what does that look like in a practical sense?
It means having humans involved at every stage of AI development and implementation. So from designing the algorithms to monitoring their performance and making sure that they're being used ethically and responsibly.
So it's not just about what AI can do, it's about how we choose to use it.
Precisely. AI has the potential to be incredibly beneficial, but it's up to us to guide its development to ensure that it's used for good.
That's a lot to think about. But it sounds like this Trending Now episode provided a pretty balanced and insightful look at AI and its potential impact.
Definitely. Yeah, they covered a lot of ground, from the practical implications for different industries to the broader kind of societal questions that we need to be asking.
So where does that leave us? What's the next step in our AI deep dive?
Well, I think it would be fascinating to explore some concrete examples of how AI is already being used in different fields.
Okay.
For instance, did you know that AI is being used to personalize education, develop drugs, and even create art?
Wow. I had no idea it was already that advanced. That sounds like a whole other deep dive waiting to happen. But for now, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve into those fascinating real-world applications of AI. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back and ready to dive into some real-world AI. I gotta say, I'm still wrapping my head around AI creating art. That sounds like something out of a movie.
It is pretty mind-blowing, and it's a great example of how AI is pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible, right? We tend to think of creativity as this uniquely human trait, but AI is kind of challenging that notion.
So how does it even work? Like, does the AI just decide it wants to paint a masterpiece and poof, there it is?
Not quite. AI art generation still requires human input and guidance. Essentially, these AI systems are trained on massive data sets of images and artwork. They learn to identify patterns and styles, and then they can use that knowledge to generate new images based on specific prompts or parameters.
So it's like giving the AI a paintbrush and some inspiration,
Yeah.
and then just letting it run wild.
In a way, yeah. But the artist, or in this case, the human guiding the AI, still plays a crucial role in shaping the final outcome. They provide the initial concept, they refine the prompts, and they curate the results, selecting the most interesting, the most aesthetically pleasing pieces.
That makes sense. It's a collaboration, just like we were talking about before.
Exactly. And that's a theme we see across many applications of AI. It's not about replacing human capabilities, but rather about amplifying them, expanding the realm of possibilities.
I'm starting to understand. So AI art is cool, but what about some more, practical examples? Like you mentioned earlier, AI in education and medicine.
Yeah, those are really exciting areas. So in education, for example, AI is being used to create personalized learning experiences. Imagine a world where every student has access to a virtual tutor that adapts to their individual learning style and pace.
That would be incredible. No more one-size-fits-all classrooms.
Precisely. AI can also help teachers identify students who might be struggling and provide them with extra support.
And what about medicine? You mentioned AI being used to develop new drugs.
That's right. AI can analyze massive data sets of medical information, including, clinical trial data, genetic information to identify promising drug candidates, and potentially even predict their effectiveness. This has the potential to significantly accelerate the drug discovery process.
Wow. So AI is speeding things up in the lab and personalizing things in the classroom. It's amazing to think how far it's come.
It really is, and the pace of innovation is only accelerating. It's an exciting time to be alive, even if it is a little bit daunting to keep up with all the changes.
No kidding. But that's why we do these deep dives, right? To break down complex topics like this and make them accessible to everyone.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power. And the more we understand about AI, better equipped we'll be to navigate its impact on our lives and shape its future in a positive way.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, from those attention-grabbing Wall Street robots to AI creating art and revolutionizing healthcare. It's clear that AI is here to stay, and it's up to all of us to learn, adapt, and embrace the possibilities.
Couldn't agree more. It's a brave new world out there, and it's up to us to make the most of it.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into AI and the future of work. Until next time, stay curious.